If cosine of theta is 4/5, find sine of theta and tangent of theta. So in order to find sine of theta, I need to use the Pythagorean identity. That is sine square of theta plus cosine square of theta is 4/5 square is equal to 1. I'm going to go ahead and solve this for sine. So sine square of theta is now equal to 1 minus 16 over 25. The difference between 1 and 16 over 25 is 9 over 25. Take the square root of both sides in order to get sine by itself. And these are two perfect squares, so the square root of 9 is 3 and the square root of 25 is 5. Using that value, I'm going to find tangent of theta. And we know tangent of theta to equal the ratio of sine of theta over cosine of theta. So we just found what sine of theta is, which is 3/5, and that's divided by the original given value for cosine of theta of 4/5. We have to multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator. I can cancel out the 5s and get 3/4 as my value. So tangent of theta is equal to 3 over 4. If sine of theta is equal to radical 5 over 5, find cosine of theta and tangent of theta. Again, I'm going to use the Pythagorean identity. Sine square of theta plus cosine square of theta is equal to 1. I have radical 5 over 5 to plug in for sine square of theta, so I need to square that, plus cosine square of theta equal to 1. Cosine square of theta is equal to 1 minus 5 over 25. All I did was square radical 5 over 5 and subtract it from the 1. So that means cosine square of theta is equal to the difference of 1 and 5 over 25. It's 4/5. I take the square root of both sides in order to get cosine of theta by itself. So the square root of 4 is 2. Square root of 5 is square root of 5, but you can't have that in the denominator, so you must rationalize it. So we get 2 radical 5 over 5 as our value for cosine of theta. Okay, now for tangent of theta, which we know to be sine of theta over cosine of theta. So sine of theta is radical 5 over 5. We're going to divide that by cosine of theta. Now it has a value of 2 radical 5 over 5. We have to take the denominator and multiply it to the numerator, multiply the reciprocal of it to the numerator. I can cancel out the 5s. I can also cancel out the radical 5, and then I get tangent of theta is equal to 1/2. If tangent of theta is equal to 5, find sine of theta and cosine of theta. So we know tangent of theta is equal to sine of theta divided by cosine of theta. And I can set 5 equal to sine of theta over to cosine of theta. Okay, so in order to get the value of 5, this denominator is 1, so sine of theta must equal 5, and cosine of theta must equal 1.